Thank you, everybody. So with us today, we have three speakers. We have Dr. Wissam Herbawi. We have Sean Carroll and Abu Fadl. We will start with Dr. Wissam Herbawi's session. To allow me to introduce him first. Dr. Herbawi is a lead software engineer at Here Technologies. He's also a co-founder of Lean, that provides software engineering and consulting services for services. Dr. Wissam is a problem solver and a routing specialist. He's experienced in motion and path planning algorithms, dispatching algorithms for on-demand products. He loves solving challenging problems. Dr. Herbawi taught at universities in Hebron and Bethlehem. He also serves as a reviewer for several journals. Dr. Herbawi, the floor is yours.
So thank you very much. And hi, everybody. I think I also cannot share my screen, but that's not a big deal because the slides I have are not so fancy, and usually I'm not good at slides, so it's good for me maybe. Good, so I will just try to, okay, so I will keep my slides for me just to guide me through my talk. So thank you, Sulki, again for introducing me. This is Wissam Herbawi, and I will try to take you along with my journey, maybe from my bachelor, and the goal of this journey is to tell you like the touch points between me, the Palestinian culture and tech, and the German culture and tech. How did I find the differences, whether it was very challenging for me to integrate there, could I have contributed better or not? So basically I graduated from Palestine Polytechnic University and taught there, and till that point I had no, or I can say I did not have any ground truth to compare myself against anything. Then I did my PhD at the University of Germany. There I had the chance to interact with many nationalities, graduates from worldwide, and on like different challenging problems. And there I realized that we as Palestinians or graduates from Palestine are really, or were really capable of competing with many other graduates from well-known universities. And actually I managed to finish my PhD kind of the fastest among my colleagues who joined at the same time, and published at really high quality conferences, leading conferences in my field. So that was the first point of contact between me and other Palestinian nationalities and tech guys from Germany and worldwide. Then after that, after my PhD, I joined Daimler. Daimler AG, which is the parent company of Mercedes-Benz and other companies. So there I started really to live the industrial world. So there I worked as a software developer and research engineer, senior researcher, and different positions there, and worked there for quite a long time. And yeah, I mean, managed. I'm not aiming here to market myself, but the point here is I want to bring is that I represent any Palestinian. There I managed to show presence really from an early stage and managed to gain their trust, which is not easy usually in Germany to gain their trust. And yeah, after several years working for Daimler, then I decided to go back to Palestine. And that was really the nice side, which is always it's not always easy to do, which is I managed to take my work with me to Palestine. And because of some compliance and regulation issues in Germany, the company decided that the best way to work with them is freelancing mode. So I worked for quite some years from Palestine, from Hebron, worked as freelancer for Daimler. In parallel, I worked as assistant professor at the University of Bethlehem. And this is a new experience, by the way, like when I taught at the University of Bethlehem. And then there, when I was teaching, then I thought, okay, let me try to give the students the challenges we used to have at Daimler and the problems we used to solve, maybe in a simplified way, but like in the same direction. And surprisingly, the students were really capable of doing really challenging work. And for instance, they managed to build a routing engine similar to Google, like A to B search, like take me from Hebron to Bethlehem or wherever, from scratch using OpenStreetMap. That was kind of, really was not big project. It was kind of course project for the data structures course. Like it was, I think, for the first or second year students. And just to mention by chance, I mean, one of the students there were like the lady that we have seen in the video, the first one, which is Mice. They did really very, very good work compared to like, as if it were like any student anywhere. So I think the education level in Palestine is really good. The quality of students is really good. And they are really hard workers, smart guys. So after that, me and some other Daimler colleagues, after some year as freelancer and university professor or assistant professor, we decided to establish our startup in Stuttgart, in Germany. It's Lean GmbH or GmbH. And that was also another contact point between the Palestinian talents and the international world. So there, like we got some, like usually our projects were for automotive industry, for Volkswagen, for Daimler and other automotive industry players. And then we got some projects, or like some of them were in the field of machine learning. And there was the touch point. We like, you know, when you are looking for machine learning guy, either they are very rare or they are very expensive. And I knew a couple of guys whom I trust, and then we hired them from Palestine here, and they used to do the work here and from time to time to travel to Germany. Yeah, me and my colleagues were really very, very satisfied, and our customers were satisfied with the way of communication, with the know-how, with the software engineering skills, because it's not only research, it was something that has to be put into production. So that was really nice experience for me. And I trust the Palestinian talent. The only thing I see, as mentioned before by, I think, Hatem, is like how to market the guys here, especially if you are in Germany or if you are in Europe. The Eastern European countries are really very strong in the field of software development. Prices are kind of competitive with us, and therefore I thought like we are good to go in the field of, or like kind of niche market for us is machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. And here I try to, like, as much as I can to like encourage and boost this way. And yeah, I mean, that's from my side actually. We can discuss more if you have some questions later.
Thank you, Dr. Wissam.
Welcome.
And our next speaker now is Sean Carroll. Allow me to introduce Sean. Sean is joining us from Washington, D.C. Sean is the Enera president and CEO. Sean leads a staff of 150 employees in Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, and Washington, D.C., delivering $75 million worth of humanitarian aid and development assistance to refugees and vulnerable communities in the Middle East. Sean oversees a wide range of programs, from distribution of in-kind medicine and other medical and humanitarian relief to building community infrastructure in water, education, sports, and health, to revenue-generating agriculture and other economic growth programs that improve thousands of families' lives. Before joining Enera, Sean worked in several international development and policy roles in Washington, D.C., Europe, and the Middle East. Sean's connection to Palestine and the region began more than 20 years ago, when he worked as the chief of mission for the National Democratic Institute in the West Bank and Gaza, and lived in East Jerusalem. The city will always have deep significance for his family because of his twin children were born there. Sean will share with us today more about Enera's Plus program. The floor is yours, Sean.
Thank you very much, Suki, and thank you, Marwan and Leila, Arabesque Media, and Americans for a Vibrant Palestinian Economy. Thank you, USPalTech. Very glad to be here. As you just heard, Anira is not an IT company. We're a not-for-profit NGO that's been working in Palestine for over 50 years. But I want to talk to you today about our Plus Career Accelerator program, and I've got just 4 slides I'm going to share with you. It's not letting me click on it. Let's see if this will work. It says it's going to let me do it, but here we go. There we go. So Plus is Palestinians leveling up skills, or people leveling up skills. And it's a career accelerator program. We offer an intensive 20-week training in full stack software development and then career mentorship in order to accelerate careers in information technology. And really the outcomes, the focus is on getting those jobs, getting the graduates placed into, not just into jobs, but into careers. And the methodology and pedagogy combines the technical curriculum from Hack Reactor in Silicon Valley with a very intense emphasis on durable skills. And this combination, something that Hack Reactor and all coding academies try to do, I think it was mastered well for the Middle East by Reboot Camp, RBK, based in Jordan, with whom we worked on our first set of cohorts in our proof of concept pilot. They combined this technical curriculum with the emphasis on durable skills of English and communications and critical thinking and teamwork and collaboration into an extreme learning immersive boot camp. And in our pilot phase, we had 90 Palestinians in 3 cohorts, and the objectives were to prove that the methodology and pedagogy works in Palestine and for Palestinians, achieve a better than industry standard outcome of getting 90% of our graduates placed into IT jobs. And you know that universities are struggling to have anywhere close to that level of placement of their graduates, and other vocational training and career accelerator programs, I think, also struggle to reach that. But RBK has done that, and we've done that in our first cohort in Palestine, and then outlining a financing model that will really allow for sustainability and scale of the program so that we really can scale it up to meet the potential and the needs in IT. Our graduation, our placement rate of graduates is 89%, 6 months out, 92% a year out. We have a focus on refugees and other vulnerable populations. We ensure we've got a female-male parity. In fact, our first 3 cohorts, we've had more females than males, and we're getting an average monthly salary so far of the Plus grads of $866 a month, which is 12% higher than the Palestinian average salary. What are our next steps? Our ambitions are that if we know that there are 1 million unemployed in the 3 countries Anira works in Palestine, Lebanon, and Jordan, and there also are various estimates of 1 million or more IT jobs open or coming open in the next few years just in the region. And that's not counting all of the IT jobs opening up in Europe and in the US, the ones that are unfilled right now. And both of those numbers have probably gone up with COVID. There's more unemployment, but there's also more need for software engineers, for digital work to run increasingly digital societies and economies. So we don't want to just fill 100 or 1,000 of those. We'd like to fill 10,000 in the next 5 years, and hopefully multiples of that number within 10 years. Our value proposition, and many speakers have talked about this today, is that Palestinian in particular, I think, and others in the Levant region, in the Bilad al-Sham, the coders are good value for money. They may not be the absolute cheapest coders you can find globally, and they may not be the absolute best coders you can find globally, but they're very good, and the value is high. So that's the value proposition. We look forward to working with people that are participating in this summit and in growing the IT ecosystem in Palestine, between Palestine and the US and Europe to fill your needs for your existing clients and for future clients. What we hear a lot, there are some people that are participating today. We had a good conversation with Saadi Lozan at Unit 1 in Gaza yesterday. We're in constant contact with the Palestinian IT Association and all of its members. These are some of the companies that have hired our grads. They tell us again and again the stories of companies coming to them and saying, we need a team that can do this. Do you have that? And often the companies know they want to have it. They almost have it, but they're not quite there. They don't quite have the team that has the person who can manage the team with the durable skills they need in English and communications and critical thinking, and the set of technically sound developers to be on the team. So we want to work very closely with all of you, with the companies that are hiring our grads and will and should hire our grads. And some of them are on this at this summit today. So I invite you to connect with them and talk with them about their talents and their aspirations. I think we can really build something up beautifully. We want to scale this, and that's it. I'll stop there, and I welcome questions and discussions when we get there. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Sean, for your presentation and the efforts with the Plus program. Guest, Haneen Abu Farha. Allow me to introduce Haneen. Haneen joins us from Istanbul, Turkey. Haneen is a seasoned professional with 12 plus years of experience in product management, account management, and technical sourcing. She interned as a technical program manager at LinkedIn and is an expert in outsourcing diverse talents for clients like Microsoft, Facebook, AWS, and Netflix. Currently, Haneen is working as a technical recruiter at Upwork. She holds an MBA from Indiana University and an Innovation and Entrepreneurship Diploma from Euro-Mediterranean University. Haneen has a long involvement in youth and women empowerment in Palestine, and she's an alumni member of different groups like Tech Women in the US, Svenska Institute in Sweden, Sherry Blair in UK, and Arab Wick in the MENA region. Please welcome Haneen.
That's a long introduction. Thank you, Sudhi. I appreciate it. Hey, everyone. I'm going to keep it short, and I will start just like talking about the whole purpose of why we thought this is going to be of interest to anyone. Is there like a good talent in Palestine or in the region in specific, and why the companies in the US should care about talents across the world and look for them to hire them? So for me, this started with an opportunity that happened in 2015. I don't know if some of you have heard of it, but there's a program called Tech Women, and this is a program that was initiated in 2011 by Hillary Clinton, where they place candidates from across the world. They put them in companies in the Silicon Valley, kind of like expose them to new companies and see if this is going to help in excelling their career paths. Now, for me and for many other people, female specific, that joined the program, this was the access to a new kind of like experience working in the Silicon Valley companies, but this access is not given to everyone. And this is why I believe in specific was necessary, because we wanted to share for the talents who are looking for opportunities outside their countries, whether we're talking about candidates in Palestine in specific or any other countries, that it can happen if you are equipped with the right methods and if you're doing it right. And also for the companies in the States, I hope we have some companies who are maybe considering having like talents across the world joining them. They might have their concerns, they might have some hesitation, because when we say Palestine, people normally don't think of like talents or a market for like people to be working with them. They will think otherwise. So if you have those concerns, we have like some evidence that have already been shared by my other colleague speakers. And I'm going to share my experience right now on why you should actually consider candidates from the MENA region and from Palestine in specific. Right now, I'm working as a technical recruiter with Upwork company. And I'm also a diversity sourcer. A sourcer is kind of like the step that comes before the recruiter, where we go and search for candidates, diverse candidates in specific, and we find them wherever they are. And the reason a company like Upwork, and Upwork, if people don't know, Upwork started working remotely, full remotely before COVID even hit, like 2 years before that. And the company is now looking for candidates in Palestine in specific and in the MENA region. We're also looking for candidates in India and in Ukraine, for example. But from the numbers, and this is not me or someone saying this, the numbers says that candidates from Palestine, they have the best education. In terms of quality, the candidates have a better quality of the work that is done compared to other places. Now, it was mentioned that India might be cheaper for the talents. It might be cheaper, but normally when you work with teams in India, and again, this is not against anybody, but when you work with teams in India, normally, if you have a change, you need to submit it separately. If people have worked with Indian teams, they would know it. You would submit it separately, and you may end up paying more than what you actually have planned. So that's why probably if we're talking about the talent, we may cost more, but on the long run, it's going to be cheaper for any company that is considering hiring someone in Palestine in specific. And one thing is that like Palestinians have been through all, so they can handle any job pressure with no hesitation. And one interesting fact also for any company, some companies, they really want like to hire people in Palestine, but they are located in the States. And it's a huge difference of time between the team that's working in the United States and the teams that are working in Palestine. So in this specific case, I would say a company like, for example, Hopin, who are hosting our conversation today, they consider people in this region because, one, everyone is now over the internet, and apologies for the noise. You have people, you are now addressing your subscribers not only in the United States, not only in Europe, it's everywhere. So you need someone who is actually running in a different time zone. And also you need someone who is capable of understanding the local scene, how people think. If you sell to people in the Gulf, it's going to be different from selling to people in MENA region, and it's different from selling for people in the States. So having different diverse talents is going to also like help. And one interesting fact I shared with Layla earlier is the fact that because in my case, for example, I have 8 hours ahead of my whole team in the States, which kind of like give me time to prepare for anything if we have any kind of like incidents. This is a story I share from my previous job. We had an event happening in the United States, 10 a.m., and a problem happened over the night. And only me and another team member were actually awake before that happened. We handled this, we solved it before the team actually woke up in the States. It might be a minor thing, but it's also something to consider when you think, why should I go and find talents in places like nowhere or somewhere like Palestine? One thing mentioned also by Masoud in the previous session, he haven't heard of Palestine before, right? Until he was introduced by someone. So this is also something that we should work on, is the fact that not everyone knows what Palestine is. Not everyone is aware that there are candidates or talents who are capable of working and doing great job in places like Palestine or Egypt. Dr. Wissam shared his experience about the people who he have met. So this is something also, not only on the companies that are located in the States or anywhere that are looking for great candidates who can work for less money and great quality, but also for the talents and candidates in Palestine. You need to promote yourself and you need to know how to present your case. I always share this with people who already like connected with me, who know me. Like, there are certain ways of how you should present yourself on LinkedIn, how you should follow up when you apply. It's not just apply for a job and then that's it. It's end of the relationship with the company. You need to follow up with the recruiter. You need to follow up with people who are working in that company. There's a certain way of sending emails, ask for a referral. My current job with Upwork wasn't actually gotten by applying, but it was within a referral. So there are certain ways that you could follow to give yourself a better chance to actually compete with others. And I would love to answer any questions. I'd encourage people, like, ask any questions if you have, connect with me later, and I would discuss it with you in more details. I've written a specified and detailed article on how you should apply to jobs in companies like Google, Facebook, Netflix. It's not a big deal if you know how to apply. But again, people don't know that there are candidates or talents that exist in this part of the world. And to be honest, they shouldn't care. So it's your and my task to present our case and show great profile of a great case. Why should a company located in the States hire a candidate who's located in a different culture? That's also something else. is your English good, and how you're gonna follow up and work with their teams. So that's it for the talent side. For the companies, again, I shared the story of Upwork, who are now like actively hiring in Palestine. I was hired by another company called Yardstick Management. They are only sourcing diverse talents, and the company is owned by only Black people looking for only diverse candidates. So again, there are tons of companies out there who have tried and tested talents that are located in Palestine. The cost is less, the quality is better, time zone, it helps you to follow up with your subscribers in different countries. And again, it's COVID and everyone is working remotely now. So you're not only addressing your subscribers in the States, regardless whether it's a big company or small. And yeah, I would love to take any questions from talents who are trying to apply and they are not getting any luck in applying to big companies outside their countries, or companies that are considering hiring people, but they have some concerns. I would love to discuss it in more details. And thank you, Sudqi and Layla and Marwan. I saw how you prepared for this, and it was a huge effort. So thank you so much for having me and everyone today to share this experience with you.
Thank you, Haneen, and thank you for your talks and presentations. Please, if anybody has any questions, please post them in the chat. But before we take any questions, we will play a couple of videos quick, and then we will move to the question and answer session. Please, again, post them to the chat, and our speakers will address them accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudqi. I'm still not able to share my screen. Maybe somebody has it open. Can you double check?
I don't have it open.
The speakers make sure that they're sharing.
Okay. If nobody's open, I won't be able to share, and you can continue.
Okay. All right. So please, again, as a reminder, post any questions you have to the chat, and then we can address them with our speakers. Haneen, I have a question, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
Try again. I just...
Go ahead, Sean.
I didn't have share screen open, but I clicked on it and it changed. And now it's gone back to...
It's all due to my...
It said that I couldn't share screen. Then for a moment it said I could, and now it again says I can't. So I don't know. Sorry, I thought something changed that could help you.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Haneen, just a quick question regarding your experience getting that LinkedIn internship and working for a company like Upwork, and before that Netflix. If you could share some of the tips and tricks. By the way, Haneen is also a writer in Medium, and she's active on social media, so which is very important to do these days. So maybe some tips and tricks for our talent. One of the things that was mentioned also is adapting to the culture. And I saw that Tim mentioned that on his in the chat. So that's very important. So if you can share a bit of that experience, that would be great.
Again, like I would always say, put yourself in other people's shoes. These are people who have been living in the States. If we're assuming we're only talking about like the companies in the United States, they are not used to be working with other people. And like us, they only know what they have seen in movies. Some people have been exposed like to international cultures, but most people don't know what they are like going to face. So one thing is introduce yourself and connect with people even before you apply for a job. And I always say this: don't wait until you have like lost your job or you're looking for a job right now and then you need an opportunity. But connect with people even before. Connect with the professionals in your profession. In my case, I'm a recruiter and a sourcer in specific. I connect with the sourcers all over the world, try to connect with them, engage. Now they know me, I know them. If the time comes and I need something, then those people are already familiar with what I do. That's one thing. You mentioned Medium. Medium is how I got my current job with the diversity sourcing company I mentioned. They read my articles, they loved what they read, and they asked me to join them. So that's also another thing. On LinkedIn, it's always also important to show that, I don't know you. Let's say I don't know Sudki. As a recruiter, I'm going to go and look on LinkedIn. If your LinkedIn is not telling this like compelling story about how you are the perfect candidate who I should hire for this role, people are not going to hire us. And again, we're competing. When I talk to Palestinian professionals, we're competing against people who are working already on the ground in the United States. They already are familiar with the culture. And even if the money is more, sometimes it's worth paying more for people who are going to work with those companies. So again, why should a company in the United States come and hire someone, apologies for the messages, come and hire someone who is located somewhere across the seas to join their company? And again, they're not sure if your English is good. They're not sure if your experience is relative. In some cases, even the way we do development is different in our companies than what we do in the United States. That's why sharing stories about how, for instance, the developers who work in certain companies, they are exposed to international companies. We have people who have already been working with like Apple and Microsoft and Intel, directly or indirectly. Being also in the MENA region, many professionals have worked with companies in the Gulf. And you know how like companies in the Gulf run the business different from Europe, for instance. Telecom companies are kind of like collaborating in a different way than what they do in the States. So showing those cases, talking about in your LinkedIn, talk about the projects you have done. Don't talk about the tasks you were doing in your job, but give me in numbers what you have achieved in like 4 years of working in a telecom or a software engineering company, how you increased the revenue from X to Y in 3 months or 6 months, or how you worked on a specific technology to deliver something. Dr. Wissam mentioned like in specific, AI is now like the thing. Why are you the one to go to? Now we have a great education. Sometimes we need to showcase that this is a great profile and this is a great candidate to join the company. And last note also is there are certain openings that we have right now. For example, there's a university for AI that just opened in Abu Dhabi. Mohammed Zaid, I think, for AI, and the university is well known. So again, if you are interested in, let's say, being someone who is capable and achieved in AI, why not to join this university, for instance, and in 2 years, you're going to be able to apply to big names, because we don't have many candidates working specifically in AI and kind of like have this kind of certificate in specific. So regardless what a talent should do, if you are a capable engineer, and we have many people who are professional enough, but you need to showcase why you are the right person to hire over the other candidates.
Thank you for that, Hanina. Okay, we have a question from that is asking, what do we need? What are the main skills that candidates need to know to work for a remote and an outsourcing company? Where are the skills that are lacking here in Palestine, and that talent need to train on? It's open for any of our speakers.
I'm happy to share what we're hearing. Again, I can't overstate the importance of the technical skills with the durable skills. And you can have graduates who are stronger in one than the other, but they really have to have a good, solid base in both. And again, the durable skills are the communication skills, including English, although obviously our grads have the advantage that they're fluent Arabic speakers as well, right? So if your English is good, that's necessary. A big one I didn't mention though is the ability to self-learn. I mean, that's what they learn in our Career Accelerator program, because everything's changing all the time. New coding languages are needed. I had a conversation with a group of women in the program just before they were graduating, and I said, I just had a meeting with the chief technology officer at one of the IT companies in Ramallah, and these are the 6 coding languages he told me he needs. Did you learn all of these? I named them all, and they said, yes, we did. And I said, really, all 6? And they said, well, no, actually, that last one we didn't learn, but we could teach ourselves in a week. And then they laughed and they said, I can't they each said, I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. I've really learned how to learn new coding languages. And that's an absolutely critical piece. And if our graduates can show that capacity to prospective employers, they become very employable.
Dr. Wissam, Haneen, you want to add anything?
Well, I have been exposed to this problem actually in the past like 3-4 years, and I did kind of multiple workshops in this field. Well, I don't have any doubt that the Palestinian graduates have really solid like theoretical background. They are very smart. What is lacking, according to what I have seen, is the ability to use like software development tools. It's not about algorithms. It's about build automation, source code management, Git, GitLab, GitHub, testing, unit testing, automated testing, CI, CD, all these things that package the algorithms to be products and enable you to work efficiently in a team. So I would really, highly push it in the different universities. I already started that at Bethlehem University. So mostly the students I taught are using Git, GitHub, testing, automated testing, and midway to the path of having like really a system in production. So in short, like the use of tools, software engineering tools, that's often is lacking.
And also like the soft skills, especially for like engineers, communication skills. Sometimes English is not that good because they don't practice that much. And this is not something that can't be solved, but they should put effort like to solve it. Also, if you are having trouble in finding a specific job in software engineering in general, maybe also go to one of like mentioned, machine learning. AI is now the booming thing, and they pay a lot of money if you're after the money. So this is somewhere we can actually compete. Diverse talents is also something we can compete against. I'm having a hard time finding female candidates to join, even like for basic like front end and back end positions. And the last thing I'd like to add also is some people are really great and they have great skills, but they don't share it on their LinkedIn profiles. I just spoke today to a candidate. He's a freelancer who has been using Upwork for 8 years. His profile at Upwork is perfect, but his LinkedIn profile doesn't say anything about his experience. People who are looking for him on LinkedIn are not going to see his skills, and so they are not going to talk to him. So again, that's another thing that is important. Do not have a huge and perfect profile in one platform and then just ignore every other platform. Mahmoud Diab just asked about LinkedIn, like if it's going to be just another version of those kind of like gig economy things and like freelancers platforms. Even if this happens, LinkedIn is not the only place where you could connect with candidates and recruiters and people in the companies you're interested in. Just connect with the people. People care more for the cultures now. So connect with the candidates. If you are in product, connect with the product people in the company you wish to join. Connect with the software engineers in those companies. So when the time comes and there's an opening and your skills do match, you go to them and talk to them and you get a referral so you can apply. You get like 13 times better chance to get an interview for a job if you get a referral rather than just applying on the platform.
Thank you for your answer. Okay, Tariq had a question about what advice can you give our specialists on how to be connected to the US and international companies?
Give quick answer. If you're not active on LinkedIn, be right now. And talk to people, show that either you are interested or show that
Sorry,
you are...
Sotki did not get the question. I don't know if it's...
You can hear me, Wissam?
The connection to blame or...
Okay.
Okay.
I think, yeah, the question is...
Go ahead, Haneen.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, don't wait until you just apply for the jobs. Connect with people over the platforms, whether it's like GitHub, Overstack, Slack, I don't know how you're going to connect with people, but connect with them over more than one channel. If you don't know enough, show interest. If you know enough, show your expertise. Try writing on Medium, share your experience. If you are great in, let's say, machine learning or data analysis, show that, share on Medium, write on LinkedIn. Join such summits like this one, talk about the topic you are passionate about, but show that you know something about things. And then you could go like and apply for the openings, and then follow up with emails also. Do not just apply for the openings and that's it. Follow up with the candidates, talk to the recruiters, share your interest, and take it from there.
There is a question from Ahmed to Dr. Wissam about what he's asking is if you think there should be some sort of a DevOps course as part of the curriculum, maybe as part of that, making sure that students understand the importance of having something like a GitHub profile, for example.
Yeah, usually it's not needed, for instance, in Germany, because you do internship, like kind of 6 internship. But here I would really recommend having such things at university, especially that the software development companies here cannot offer enough internships for the students where they can learn these skills. So I recommend that. And also to add, your LinkedIn project, not LinkedIn, sorry, your GitHub open source project should be your identity there, because there you have a lot of GitHub actions, which includes both your coding, testing, and CI/CD skills.
What about Stack Overflow, Wissam and Hanin? Do you recommend people have a portfolio on Stack Overflow and search the jobs database there?
Yeah, definitely. I would say. I mean, often I also get some answers for my questions in there. So
and
a lot of Googling. Also, I'm not on inventing code, but also copying and pasting code.
Well, listen, in our training, our Career Accelerator training, they joke. They say the most common thing they hear is Google it, because that's part of the self-learning. And the second thing would probably be check Stack Overflow, right? So they learn where the resources are in order to figure out the coding.
Actually, when you join a company, you can't expect that you asking your supervisor how to do this. But you have a task and you have a time, and it's up to you how to do it. So you have to learn how to learn by yourself.
It's another place to look for, who are the experts in a certain topic, basically. And again, we have more than one channel to use. Why only rely on Upwork, for example, or LinkedIn? Do it on all channels and let people have it
everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
Be everywhere. I agree. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, guys, for that. If there are any questions, reminder to send it. We're 9 minutes left for this session. I wanted to add a point about what Wissam said. I think this is one of the most amazing opportunities that our college students and fresh graduates could do to be involved and grow their skills. It's an amazing opportunity, and we heard in the previous session, for example, from Masoud and from Tim, talked about having internship program as well. This is all amazing, and this is what part of what needs to happen. Being involved, being active and involved, I think is something great. Okay, we have another question from Fida. Do you think the remote and outsourcing will lead to lack of soft skills? Will lead to lack in soft skills because there is no good chance to communicate with people? I think it's about working remotely and the downsides.
Yeah, I'll jump in and say that we definitely have better outcomes when the training program is done in person, at least the immersive boot camp piece. The preparation piece can be done remotely online. It works just as well, probably. But that intensive boot camp training, which really is about putting people into an environment and a work stream that is like in a company. And if you walk into the Plus program, it looks like people are already doing scrums and doing sprints at a tech company. And so not being able to do that in person definitely affects outcome, and certainly on the English and the, but I think that technology increasingly, if we meet technology halfway, you can replicate a lot of it. You just have to be very deliberate about it, making sure that people are continuing to have the contact that's necessary to build those durable skills of English and communications and teamwork.
Under being deliberate, actually you need to communicate more when you are remote, because it's not like when we are in the same office I could just like throw a comment or something. But yes, companies have to be deliberate on making sure that, for example, people have the cameras on, we talk a lot, kind of like have an ice-breaking conversations. And again, sometimes I also like say remote is not for everyone. Some people prefer to be in an office, but remote has given us like the opportunity to be flexible in our working hours. And companies now, they have those retreats or mini retreats where people can meet and engage. So that's also another turnaround solution. One thing I think we're going to see once COVID is done, going back to normal, probably companies are going to adopt the hybrid kind of like workforce. You will have the offices where you can come one day or two to the office and work, but they will have the flexibility to work remotely the rest of the week, because it's doable. You don't have to be like in the office all the time, which is good, I think.
And I agree with you. I think, obviously the COVID-19 threw this in front of us, and things went instantly from office to remote, which is usually not a healthy thing. But as we get more acclimated and accustomed to it, I believe that we'll be able to. And even prior to COVID, for a long time, companies specifically in the US have always had teams and offices globally, whether in India, Philippines, or around the world, and they managed, right? So there has been some remote and outsourcing, and I think we can learn to manage it well. Okay, so we have 5 minutes. I'd like to give you each of our speakers a chance to give closing remarks. I want to thank you all for your time and start with that. So maybe Haneen can go first.
Sorry, do we have anything to add?
If you have any closing.
I think the two notes I have for candidates who are looking for a job. The one thing that any candidate would lack is persistence. If you want to join a company, if you put this as a target, you can do it. Just do your search, do it right. Exist more, be active on the platforms online. And for the companies, again, I don't know how many representatives of companies in the States are joining us again, but big companies, big names have already tried hiring people across the world. The candidates in Palestine, again, this is not me saying this, I'm hiring in Palestine, Egypt, and Jordan now, and we have people from India as well, but the candidates turn to be more educated, solid education coming from the region, and they are well equipped. The experience is similar, and culture-wise, they can adapt quickly. So if you have any concerns, like I mentioned, you will have people who can join and work actually in a different time zone. They're not that late like people in East Asia, for example. The location also plays a huge part, because we can manage to work with people in India, for example, and people in the States at the same time. So that's also an advantage of hiring people from the region. So if people have any hesitations, they want to have any discussion, I would love to have it. And for candidates who are looking, please find me on LinkedIn. I would love to help and share more details on how you can actually land the job you want. And again, thank you, Sutku, for having us.
Thank you, Haneen. Sean, any closing remarks?
Yes, thank you. Well, I echo what's heard. The talent in Palestine is there. There's some confidence building that still needs to be done. Often people don't think they can compete globally. And so we need to help build that confidence and celebrate every victory, every win. The summit participants saw earlier the the video testimonial from Dalia Awad, a young woman graduate from Gaza, still a teenager, who just got hired by Google for 3,800 euros a month. And, that's just, that's a huge boost, obviously, for her, but for all of her colleagues. So these connections are really important. Take a chance, get to know them. The talent really is there, and the value proposition is there. And let's work together to build up the ecosystem. There's a need to get to critical mass and get to comfort and get to, which begins with connections and familiarity. So any role that Anira can play with you, with others, to make those connections, we'd be glad to. Thank you.
So I assume it's my turn. So I think, yeah, thank you, Sean, also. Yeah, good. I mean, I think COVID brought some good and bad stuff. I mean, looking at the positive side, it has boosted the culture of remote work, home office, and these things, I would say, are there to stay. And if we look deeply there, it's something good for us for our region, because I know many companies, you can Google that also, that have switched to remote first companies. Like, they are willing to hire you full-time remotely. Sometimes they put some limitation, like ±4 hours or 5 hours time zone difference, but the chance is there. You have just to be ready and prepared, work on yourself, freelance, like open source, GitHub projects should be your CV, and yeah, good luck.
Thank you all of our speakers. Thank you Haneen, Wissam, and Sean for this hour and presenting. Thank you everybody for attending. Now we will end this session, and we will hopefully see you all in our next session titled Technology, Art, and Media. The presenters there will be Dr. Ahlam and James. So thank you all.
Thank you all. Great to be with you. Thank you.